Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Gator Gang Network. I'm your host, Bobby, and I'm alongside my co-host, Lucas, and we have a special guest tonight, Ramon from Real Sports Talk
What's
Podcast.
up? What's up?
How
What's
you
up,
guys
man?
doing tonight?
Man, you already
We're
know,
doing
man. We
pretty
doing
good.
good.
I'm ready to talk about this game and the special night that Kyle Trask had because he had a night for the ages.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
He had one
yeah,
for
for
the
sure.
ages, one for the history books, and he continues to put on the records. And we will get to all the accolades that he has done so far in his short-lived career. But let's get into the game in the swamp Saturday night of the Florida Gators versus the Arkansas Razorbacks. And Kyle Trask put on a show, and Feleipe Franks makes his return to the swamp on the opposing sideline. So that was the big storyline for this matchup.
Yeah,
And got to
Franks
give
and
credit
not
where
playing
credit's
bad.
due. Arkansas secondary, they were put to the test with Florida's dynamic offense. And let's start with Kyle Trask, who went 23 for 29, 356 yards,
yeah.
6 touchdowns,
Byron
0 interceptions. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, you heard me right. 6 touchdowns, and what a phenomenal night. Lucas, I'm gonna start with you with this question. What did you think about his performance?
I thought it was just phenomenal, and he left off where he started where he left off, so to speak.
Yep, he's continuing to make moves each and every week. And this was a game that was without Kyle Pitts being out with the concussion protocol and the surgery to his nose. So Ramon, what kind of offense were you expecting from the Florida Gators without Kyle Pitts?
Man, I actually by me. I'm getting some feedback on my back end. All right. By me just looking at the game, man. Um, let me. Man, I'm getting so much feedback in my ear from a commercial. I'm sorry. But I was looking at the game, and I was surprised just in general how Arkansas always played the Gators pretty tough year in and year out for the past, I would say, what decade? I would say played them
Yeah,
pretty
every
tough. They
time we
always,
play him,
oh yeah,
it's a
they always
pretty
had a
good game.
pretty
Yeah.
strong team. But I seen the firepower on the offense, especially. I mean, just the running back, like you said, Frank's coming in just in itself, is
He didn't
spectacular.
play
But
that
isn't
bad
he
either.
going? But Kyle, isn't he like in the run for the Heisman this year?
Yep.
The odds
You know,
makers want
he's
to
probably he's a good, like, I would say either with first
Mhm.
place or tied with first, because I really can't put him second because he's got like 8 more
odds makers
touchdowns
not.
But
than
and that's
Jones.
the thing, running passing for 2,171 yards throughout the season,
Yeah,
and that 28 touchdown. He's 28, so he's tied number one. So and then with 3 interceptions, that's good. That's
yeah,
good.
he's definitely put on a
With the
show.
SEC coming in late because you
Yes,
behind.
and
Go
mind
ahead.
you, all
Right.
of this is under an all SEC schedule. This is no
Mm-hmm.
cupcake games. So these 28 touchdowns that he's gotten in the 6 games, which now pass Tua
Right.
Tagovailoa with
Right. 27.
That's an unbelievable feat considering these are all SEC teams
Exactly.
in a year like we've never had before,
Exactly.
and the ups and downs of COVID and injuries and just not having spring, not having fall camp, and Kyle Trask not even being like a real starter. Like
Mm-hmm.
he came in, in the game last year, in the Kentucky game after Franks had that injury, and has been riding out quarterback since. So he's had about 8 games last year, and then the 6 games this year. That's only a handful of games that he's actually played in
He's
his
already
limited career, but he's played phenomenal and he's putting up Joe Burrow type numbers.
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
already got
And
5,000
they're
career passing
consistent.
yards. He's already got 5,000 career passing yards.
Yes,
Yeah.
in his starts that he's got over 5,000 passing yards, and that's unheard of. And the question that comes to my mind,
Mm.
and I come back to this all the time because I want to know what have we not seen from Kyle Trask on the field that you're not seeing in practice during the course of the time that he's been on the UF campus and putting him into these games. Because when I see him play, I see a man that's laser focused. He can get up to the line. He can call the audible. He can change up the play. He's calm. He's poised. He's collected. He's everything that you want in a quarterback. And there were some passes where the window was about the size of that football for him to get it in there, and he damn sure got it in there.
Bro, I was watching the highlights earlier this morning, and I was looking at how he what's the wide receiver number 1, how he put that ball like you're talking about,
Kadarius Toney, and
how he put it straight through the hole, man.
And he had a couple passes to Trayvon Grimes.
Right.
Grimes was phenomenal too. It was on that first drive. I think it was about the second or third play. He put that ball in there on a tightrope, and that you couldn't have asked him to put it in a better spot. And there were some other touchdowns that he had with a Zipperer that he threw it to the corner of the end zone, and Zipperer made the adjustment and ran to the ball and left the defender behind. To where Kyle Trask is going to have two results on majority of his passes. Either his receiver is going to get it or nobody's going to get it. And that's exactly what you want to see. You don't want to see, these 50-50 balls where you put it where the defender has just as much chance to get it as the receiver. There's a lot of tight window throws that he makes, but he makes them. He makes them.
Yeah, and him being a senior this year, I mean, what's your thoughts? I know this is your show, but I'm still ask that question. You believe he's going to go into the league next year, or we think he's going to run another year?
Yeah, he's gone. He's gone.
I think he's gone, and I say that he needs to take his chance to go to the NFL while it's there. One, for a couple reasons. The year before last, he would have been your starter after that, going into that Missouri game, but he broke his foot.
Right.
So then he finally got, Franks took over. Franks finished out the year strong, and that's what got him that starting spot coming into the beginning of the 2019 season because Kyle Trask had that, the broken foot. So then when we get to the 19 season and that Kentucky game and Feleipe goes out, you have no other choice than to bring Trask in. And, we know the end of the story. He's riding out in the sunset, and I think he needs to take his chance and go to the NFL now instead of coming back because you never know football, and you played for some years, so that anytime an injury can wipe you out. I'm pretty sure you've seen other teammates that were having a good year and they get injured and they're out, they're gone.
I mean, long story short, that happened to me my senior year, man. Tore ligament in my right ankle. I was out the whole year, bro.
Right. So firsthand that, if the chips come along your way and you're able to take that chance and get your money and get that bag, that you need to take that, step and go that direction.
Yes, sir. Time don't wait on you, man.
Yeah, time don't wait on you. So you got to make the moves that are for you. And we're gonna miss Kyle Trask, but just like Feleipe Franks.
With the way Damon has recruited the quarterback position, I don't think we're gonna have an issue. We'll be just fine.
That's another great take, Lucas. The quarterback room is phenomenal, and we did get to see Emory Jones come in this game. He's been dealing with the hand injury from I believe it was the second game of the season. So he's finally back, and he got to see a little action, mainly in the second half, to where he was in that fourth quarter. He was able to get multiple drives and take them down the field, and he went 4 of 7 for 29 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. I mean, they had, but what I really liked is what I noticed watching the game is you have a lot with Emory Jones in the game. You not only have to look forward to him passing the ball, but you got to worry about him running
the ball, right?
So he's a multi-dimensional quarterback that he can do a lot of things that Kyle Trask can't do. When Kyle Trask is in the game, you know that yes, he's a willing runner, but is he going to see a pocket and see a hole open and take it? Most likely not. He's probably going to find his receiver down the field. But Emory Jones, on the other hand, if he sees that gap and it opens up, he's going to take that shot.
I don't know
Yeah.
about
So
you guys, but that kind of reminds me of Lincoln Tebow back in the day. From back in the day.
exactly. And,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's
it
what I
did give
said
me that
in
memory.
the preseason, that I
Mhm.
think you would see more of a Chris Leak, Tim Tebow duo, from Dan Mullen this year with those two quarterbacks.
Yeah, yeah, because he was 15 for 19. I'm sorry, 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions.
Yeah,
That's not
yeah,
that bad.
That's a strong game, man. And even with Smith at the running game, 8 carries for 118 yards,
yeah.
14.8 on the average and 1 TD. So that's excellent.
hmm Right, and then with Florida's run game, Florida had a run game that we had 140 yards rushing, which is great because it's about what we're averaging. It's 140 yards, so
Yeah,
we're getting better in the run game than we have been. And I will say Naquan Wright, who touched the ball
Yeah,
9 times and
he
ran 50
reminds me.
yards.
yeah,
He reminds me of Faster Jeff Demps. I don't know if you guys see that, but that's the
of
first thing that
course.
comes to my mind.
Jeff
Of
Depps.
course, but Naquan Wright, what he strikes to me is he's this runner that just is relentless and does not give up and keeps it going. And he may be make a 1 yard. Well, he's going to push himself and try to get 2 or 3 more yards. Carrying the pile.
Yeah,
He's one hell of a running back. Damian Pierce is a workhorse. 12 carries, 69 yards, averaging 5.8 yards a carry. So every time he touched the ball, he's averaging 5 yards. So, that's 2 runs from him. You're going to get a first down. So the running back position is
The
filling. We
the
got to see
offensive line has really impressed me this year too.
the offensive line has impressed me.
yeah,
Kyle Trask has not seen his back a whole lot. There was a lot of plays where he's able to sit back there in that pocket and pick apart the defense, and that's something that you can't do with Kyle Trask, is to let him pick apart the defense. And we know from last weekend against Georgia, Georgia's defensive line is very good, and Florida's offensive line matched up to that really well and played extremely well, to where Kyle Trask was able to do what he did there and to do what he did here in the Arkansas game. And we do not have Ethan White on the offensive line right now. So Delance and Garage, they're not playing their respected positions. They're switched around until Ethan White comes back. So the offensive line is looking pretty good right now. But once they get Ethan White back, they're going to be able to flip back to their normal positions, and they're going to be something that Kyle Trask is going to have a pocket all day long.
The same thing with the defense. Once they got Camo back, then people were playing the positions that they were most comfortable.
Exactly. That defensive line is getting at it. They're getting in the backfield. They're getting sacks. Florida leads the SEC in sacks right now. So from the beginning games, where we're looking at the defense going, why are y'all not getting pressure? Why are y'all not getting the sacks in the later games? In the past 2-3 games, we've really seen the defensive line get at it and get in the backfield, get some sacks, get some tackles for losses, and they're able to do what the Todd Grantham defense is accustomed to doing, to where when you get to third down, that's third and Grantham, to where if you have the pass rushers like we've been talking about that Florida needs to have, I think they're developing them. I think they're getting better, and they're getting off the edge a whole lot better than they were last season.
And trust
yeah,
me, we
yeah.
got some
Because go
we
ahead.
got some studs coming in next year too. So this is not going to just be a one-trick pony.
Exactly. So let's talk about the receivers, Florida's receivers. Grimes with 6 receptions, 109 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then a freshman, Xavier Henderson, 3 receptions, 62 yards, 1 touchdown. And Kadarius Toney did not have a touchdown, but he had 7 receptions, which was a career high for him, 57 yards. Caroline Zipper, 3 receptions, 47 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, Kyle Trask was, 10 players who got the ball from Trask.
Mm.
And then our 9 receivers did. I'm sorry. And then Emory Jones came in the game, and then Rick Wells finally got some playing time. And was that 10th receiver that caught a pass throughout the night. So when you look at the quarterback room, the receiving core that we have, we lost a lot last year, but this year we're leaving where we left off at, and we're picking up stride. And this whole with beating Georgia and looking as good as we are, this is going to do phenomenal benefits to the recruiting of the 2021 and 2022 classes coming up.
Yeah, it is. And believe me, I talked to some of the recruits. They're excited. Trust me. I'm friends with some of the.
I'm sure they are. I was looking at some of the recruit tweets, after the big Georgia game, and everybody was watching that game. That was a game that you were circling on the calendar, for multiple reasons, because Florida and Georgia, they're at the top of the East, and if you want to get to Atlanta, you're going to have to go through Florida. You're going to have to go through Georgia, and Florida has held their end of the bargain and showed that they can compete with the best of them.
Well, and that's
go ahead.
No, well, and that's how I felt with Georgia. By seeing how Florida came back and beat Georgia. By looking at that game at the beginning, I really thought that Florida literally had their hands full, because the first play out of the gate, Georgia took 65, 70 yards right out the one end zone to the next. But by us beating them, that gave us that clear shot to where now I believe we'll get a bowl game. What's your thoughts on the bowl game?
The bowl game, I'm looking right now. The way that the schedule lines up, we're favored against, we're a 31.5 point favorite against Vanderbilt. We're going to be favored against Kentucky. We're going to be favored against Tennessee, and we're going to be favored against LSU. So when you look at our last 4 games, they're very favorable to get to Atlanta. The game that I see that's going to be real interesting is that SEC championship game, which will most likely be Alabama.
I don't mean to cut you off, but if we don't lose to Tennessee, we're probably a top 4 team, and we still could probably get in the playoff if we don't lose that game.
Right, exactly. So, like I'm saying, we get to the SEC championship game, and I think we stand toe-to-toe with Alabama, and I think we are very capable of beating them if we get our defense together, because our defense is that's our sore thumb right now, because we have given up 35 points to Arkansas, and we have given up a multitude of points that really shouldn't be on the board. And the one thing that I wanted to get into in tonight's podcast about the Florida defense is we are giving up explosive plays. Ramon, like you had mentioned about the Georgia game.
Right.
The Georgia game, we had given up that 75 yard run to open up the game.
There's still a lot of lackadaisy players, man. There's still some players, especially on the cornerbacks and at the linebacker position. Florida's always been an elite force on speed, on defense and offense. So when I looked at that game and I noticed, like I said again, that first play out of the gate, they came in soft. They came in flat-footed. You cannot play Georgia or any team in the SEC flat-footed. You just can't do it. And I see how when they came in and they played Georgia flat-footed like that, that showed me that, okay, this is Florida, Georgia. You should have took it serious. But every game you should take it serious. I mean, I don't care. Just like the Texas A&M game. They shouldn't have lost that game. They lost 38-41. That was a strong game. But at the same time, and they pulled out 14 in the first quarter. Then second quarter, they went up 10, down 7. Then they tied it up 7-7 in the third. Then they went 17-10 in the fourth. So, it's just, again, just going back. So I'm not off topic here. It just, again, just being consistent. It just got to be consistent.
You're right, and you got to be consistent. You can't look past any game. And I know we won 56-0 against Vanderbilt last year, but a majority of the seasons, if you look back at the Florida Vanderbilt history, Vanderbilt plays Florida tough for whatever reason. When it comes to Florida Vanderbilt, they always give it their best, and they lost to Kentucky this past weekend, but they were down by a multitude of points, but they came back and they only lost that game to Kentucky by 3 points. So they play with heart, they play with integrity the whole entire game. They play the whole 60 minutes, and that's something that we can't let our foot off the pedal just because we're playing
And
Vanderbilt, who is 0-7.
and you gotta consider this. It's gonna be an 11 a.m. Central Start Time, so we gotta get off to a fast start. And
Exactly. I couldn't agree with that more.
Yep.
Like Lucas mentioned, this Vanderbilt game is a 12 p.m. Eastern time when they kick it off. In Vanderbilt, it will be 11 Eastern time.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry, 11 Central time. So we've got to be on the ball and ready to play this game because as we've noticed in the beginning of the season,
Yeah.
you can say it's because of the beginning of the season, or you can say because of the early games. But notably, during these early games, we do not get off to a fast start, and we become more of the second half team. So
Well, that's what
I
I'm saying.
think, but yeah,
Yep.
I think with the momentum and the way things are going these past few weeks, that this noon game isn't going to be a problem. It's not going to be an issue at all. I think we're going to come out the gate. We're going to get it going. I'm not sure if we're going to have Kyle Pitts back, but if we're not going to have Kyle
I
Pitts
read
back,
I read today.
fine.
I don't mean to cut you off, but I read today by Nick Del Torre that he's probably gonna miss this game, but he'll be back for the Kentucky game.
That's okay. If he misses this game, we got Zipper, we got Gamble, we have a lot of talent that has really stepped up, in place of Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're not going to be able to fully supplement what Kyle Pitts can do on the field because he don't even have to get the ball, and the ball don't even have to go his way, but his
Just run the
presence on the
rock, man.
field. Yeah, his presence on the field, he runs his route, gets double teamed by a
Yeah.
linebacker, and then you had that
Yeah.
running back that comes out of that wheel. And then like last weekend, we had over 200 receiving yards just from our running backs alone. So, and that was with Kyle Pitts on the field because he's just a threat, rather he gets the ball or rather he's just running his route.
He's the
Hmm.
definition of matter nightmare.
Yeah, he's a nightmare. Kyle Pitts, Kyle Trask. I believe, my opinion, they are the best quarterback tight end in the nation, and I do believe that they will be playing on Sundays.
Yeah.
I do too.
I can see that, man. But like you just said, Bobby, they got to be consistent, bro. If they can't be consistent, I don't care. Just like we just blowed them out, it don't matter. They got to play like they 0-0. I mean, I was always taught that when I played football, it don't matter if we 12-2. You still got to play like you 0-0 because if you don't, you
Exactly.
go out there and believe that you blowed out
Any given
Arkansas.
Saturday,
You
anything can
right,
happen.
right. At any
Yes.
given time, anything can happen. So, but I'm looking forward
Yes.
to them being successful. But we'll see what happens, man. Yeah, like I said, any given time, anything can happen. I think if they come out on fire right out the gate, they'll be fine.
Yeah, I believe the same. And as for our next week game against Kentucky, that is also going to be another noon game.
Yeah,
Just so everybody knows, we have two back-to-back noon games that have been
What
announced.
the hell is wrong with these new games? We're top
We
16.
yeah, we have had four of them this year, and we'll see what the Tennessee and LSU games what they will be. They have not been announced yet, but that's the look ahead.
By
We
the
won't
way,
look too
if we
far
get to
ahead.
the SEC championship game, that's going to be an 8 o'clock game.
I'm not sure what time that'll be, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I do believe we will make it there. We just got to play we got to play our brand of football and not let off the gas pedal. And that
that's
was
it.
one of the things that I seen that I had mentioned in the pregame podcast about Florida not letting off the gas pedal because we seem to get a little comfortable with the lead, and then
Yep,
we just kind of take our foot off the gas a little bit
yep.
and allow. And our defense is not exactly elite, so you might have a high-powered offense, but when your
Hmm.
defense is not elite, you've really got to keep the foot on the
You
pedal
got to,
the
you
whole
got to.
game
Yep.
and play your heart out. And when we got to that fourth quarter, we seen a lot of that. But again, I do know that our second and third string players were out there, which is exactly what they need. The playtime game experience because you're not going to get better without it. You can play and practice all you want, but practice to game time, those are two totally different things.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes,
That's
they
true.
are.
Game speed and practice speed are two different things, man.
Exactly, especially when you're in practice and you cannot hit the quarterback,
Yeah.
and that was something that I'm pretty sure the our defensive line was really happy about, that they could finally hit Franks, because in practice, you're not able to hit them. So I'm pretty sure they were looking forward to that matchup and being able to get at Franks and sack him, a couple good times.
Yeah.
And then Zachary Carter with the scoop and score. Defense, that was our first defensive touchdown of the season. Defense is looking better than what they were. Tackling is looking better than what it was. I'm just happy to know that we have the team that is getting better and looking stronger every single game.
Yep.
Looking forward to it, man.
Exactly. So before we wrap it up, Lucas, is there anything that you wanna drop to let everybody know the fun facts?
Dan Mullen has the same record as Urban Meyer and Keith Berry at 32-6 after the
Yes.
Irish win.
Yep. And they have the same exact record. All three coaches at this point in their career. And let's just say we know Steve Spurrier. He brought a national title to Florida, and Urban Meyer brought 2 national titles to Florida. So the question mark is, will Dan do it? And I believe he can. Ramon, is there anything you'd like to drop before we log off here tonight?
We got to get back to the old days, man. We got to get back to the Urban Meyer days, man. We got to get back to where Florida Gators, you can just like me, man. I can pull out my debit card, it got Florida Gators on it. I can wear it with confidence, bro. Plain and simple. So
exactly.
If we can get back to them days when we chopping down and winning championships and making these Georgia Bulldogs be sad that they're Bulldogs, man, we doing all right.
Yes, we got to get back to the glory days, and we are returning there. And another fun fact that Lucas did not mention, and I know he forgot about it, is from 2010 to 2017, Florida had a combined 5 50-point games. But under Dan Mullen, in 3 years, we already have 5 50-point plus games. So just in the 3 years that Dan Mullen has been the coach, we're doing phenomenal. We're getting back to them glory days, as you would call it.
That's it. That's all I want to see, man. We can do that. We can talk.
Exactly.
Well, I can tell you, we've been not losing against them at 0-6. That's all I can say.
We definitely cannot do that.
I don't even want to see them flat.
Ado, yes. But without further ado, when we get out of here, Ramon, I'm sure you've seen how we do it when we get off. If you ain't a Gator, you must be Gator bait.
You better believe it.